And welcome to the third part of World of Warcraft versus Elder Scrolls Online. This is the series where we take a look at the differences between the two big MMOs on a range of gameplay areas. And in this third part, we're going to be taking a look at crafting professions for consumables. So we've already covered gear. This is going to be on consumables. And at the end, I'm also going to talk a little bit about how the difference is between skilling up these professions as well. Now, in Alchemy, in World of Warcraft, you have set patterns that you will learn via either finding patterns and learning them, going on quests, getting them from the trainer. They all have very definite effects. There are different types. Ones you can use are potions. These are ones on a short cooldown that have very specific effects. It might be to recover health or mana, which are your resources. It might be to boost your productivity or output in a particular time. Very frequently with potions, if you're in combat, once you take one potion, you are not allowed to take another one until you are out of combat before the cooldown starts off. There are longer lasting effects via elixirs or flasks, which will typically last for an hour or a prolonged period of time where you use this. With flasks, the benefit is that the effects will still persist even if you die. With elixirs, you would have to take another one. Each one needs several reagents which you would gather from the herbalism skill or get the items from the auction house from someone who has herbalism. And the way you make them up, you simply need a crystal vial usually, and then the right number of whichever herbs that you need. With the star system, just like with crafting gear, you have 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. If you have 3 stars in an item, then there is a chance that you can proc more of them, so you could make more than one of these items whenever you create them. As such, it's always a good idea, if you don't have very advanced alchemy yourself, to find someone who does have the 3 stars in it, provide them with the herbs, and then let them craft them for you if money is tight. When it comes to alchemy in the Elder Scrolls Online, you don't have patterns for things. You have properties of reagents. Now, there are 2 types of reagents, much as in World of Warcraft. You've got your solvent. In World of Warcraft, you just have flasks. This time, you've got different solvents. It's water for making potions. You can also make poisons with alchemy to put onto your weapons, and for this, you need oils. But what really determines the characteristics of the potion or poison you make are the herbs that you put together, and it's herbs that have properties. So, for example, if I just want to make something fairly basic, you have to discover first of all the properties of these different reagents. So you can see here, Beetle Scuttle has 4 properties, but I don't know any of them because I haven't discovered them yet. Blessed Thistle has 4. It's got Restore Stamina, so I could use this to make a potion that will restore my stamina, which is a stat in the game, or to increase weapon power, or to increase my speed, or Ravage Health. This would lower my health if I made it into a potion, but if I put it onto a poison, it can attack the health of my target. So for example, let's say I wanted to make a health potion, so I would want things that could restore my health. But what I can also see here is that both of these things, as well as having in common that they restore health, can also restore magicka. So we'll see what's on the potion here. It's going to tell me that I'm going to create something that's suitable for a level 10. And it'll restore health immediately. It will also increase my health recovery for a certain amount of time. It will also recover magicka, which is another stat, a resource stat, and increase my magicka recovery for a short time. So by combining different groups of herbs, I can make items that will help me out. Now, let's have a look. What should I do? So, let's say I want to increase my potency here. So, I've got one that will restore health, but also spell crit and weapon crit. There's another one for spell crit and speed there. And if I click this, unknown potion. Potion with unknown effects. So, I can see I've got health in common here. I've also got spell crit in common here. I've also got unstoppable in common here. So I'm going to craft this and see what I end up with. So what I've created, if I just have a look here, you can see I've procced it, I've created a couple of these. So it increases my spell crit, it restores some health immediately, and increases my health recovery. So cooking in World of Warcraft is all about getting long-term buffs. So with each of the meals that you prepare, first of all, while eating them, and you can typically do this over a 30-second period. You will gain health and or mana back. But if you spend 10 seconds eating them or drinking them, in the very rare cases of drinks, then you'll also get a buff. So for example, we'll see here by a Tartar, this means that every time we kill something, then we also get a sprint for a short duration after killing it. This is useful for solo content. The things that are more useful for raids or dungeons might be ones that improve our stats. So we have different meals that increase different stats that we have as well. It's possible to make feasts. These would be used to provide something for everyone. In an area, we could place a feast table down and everyone can take advantage of that one, for example. Uses quite a lot of other meals to put together, but then it could feed potentially like 30 people. Provisioning in Elder Scrolls Online works basically the same as cooking in World of Warcraft. For this one, you do have a set patterns. You need reagents to be able to make them, and they provide buffs for you. So for example, on this one, it can buff my maximum health for 35 minutes, which will be the case with most of these meat dishes. We could look at fruit dishes. This one increases my maximum magicka, which is again is a resource I use for casting. I can have foods that will increase my stamina. Special ones that will increase maximum health and magicka in this particular case. And ones that increase stamina recovery, for example. So all based around your major resources, whether it's health, magicka or stamina. Sometimes with the better recipes, some combination of them. For example, the blue quality recipes, and there's epic quality recipes and so on as well. When it comes to enchanting, the idea of this one is to increase stats on select pieces of gear. We can't do it on all of our pieces of gear. In the current version of World of Warcraft, we can enchant necks, we can enchant cloaks, we can enchant our rings. There are also other things you can make with these. There is a shoulder enchant which we can use, but you can also buy shoulder enchants from reputation vendors, and usually the reputation vendors versions is better. We can also craft relics. These are used to boost the power of your weapon, but they are only of value for very newly leveled characters and of no value whatsoever to anyone later on. But in the main, the purpose of these ones is to buff stats on an item. We can either enchant the item directly, or we can enchant it onto a vellum and therefore sell the enchant on the auction house, or trade it to another player, or mail it to another player as well. Finally, enchanting. Now, enchanting, unlike in World of Warcraft, can work on any piece of equipment that you are wearing, whether it be weapon, whether it be jewelry, whether it be armor sets. And again, like with the alchemy, you build up the glyphs, as it's called in this case, that you're going to apply to that armor or weapon by combining different types of runes. So there's 3 types of runes here. The first one sort of determines the quality of it. In other words, how high item level is it? So if I make something fairly low level, just for the sake of argument, the aspect, which is on the other side, determines the quality of it. Usual thing, is it white quality? It's the lowest sort of quality. Green quality, blue, and epic, and then what you might call legendary there. I'm not high enough level in this profession to be able to use the very best ones, but I'm going to make it a weak one and just show you the general idea. And then to determine exactly what it is, so this is determining what level your character needs to be able to use this. This is determining the quality of it. So to determine what it actually does, we use essences. You can see there's loads of them. Just like with alchemy, you have to discover the use of them. So when you first get one of these types of runes, you won't know what it's for, so you have to actually make a glyph with it just to find out. So you can see here, frost. So if I use this, for example, I'll create something that, if I apply to my weapon, will increase frost damage. Stamina. This is going to mean that I've got more stamina. If I'm a stamina build, I'm using lots of that, so I can put this onto... It tells me what sort of glyph I'm making. This is for armor specifically. This one is for jewelry and increases my stamina recovery. So there's all sorts of things you can have on here. This one's going to add spell damage if I apply it again to it. It's a jewelry glyph. and you just click on whichever one you want. So you can see here you can make a massive range of different types of glyph that you can apply, and you can control very carefully what level it's suitable for and what the quality is. So if you're getting a piece of equipment you expect to upgrade fairly soon, you're probably not going to use a very high quality one. But at the same time, if you're going to use a piece of equipment that you think, I'm going to keep this for a while, then you could step it up and use a better quality and it will make it better. So we see here, this one's going to add to weapon glyph, deals 173 shock damage, but there's only 144 for the lowest quality one, for example. Now the way you apply these, if I craft this one, obviously I'm making a super low level one here, but I'm not using glyphs at the moment because I'm still leveling. So I could show here what I do. Now this is somewhere some people get a bit confused about. They try and right click this to apply it. That's not how it works. You actually right click the weapon, click enchant, and then you get the choice of the glyphs you've got available. And there we go. Now with these enchants as well, it's not just passive, it's not just finished with. You'll see there's a blue bar appeared here. That's for the enchant. As I use it, that blue bar diminishes, and over time, eventually it will empty and then the glyph will have no further effect. I don't have to apply another glyph to it. I just have to charge it up. We have these things called soul gems, which we carry around. They can be used, for example, to resurrect us. So if we die, we can use them to res. We can use them to res other people, or we can use them to recharge our enchants as well once they've worn off. So leveling up all professions in Elder Scrolls Online is done via something called inspiration. This is a sort of experience for crafting that you get every time you craft something, every time you deconstruct an item as well. So unlike in World of Warcraft, where when you craft something, it may or may not be worth a skill point. If it's color-coded orange, it's definitely worth a skill point. Yellow, probably. Green, maybe. Grey, not at all. Everything that you deconstruct or create will definitely give you something towards that. But there are ways in which you can get a little bit more each day as well via dailies. These are called crafting writs. So once you've got some level of proficiency in a craft, you can get yourself certified by what's called either the Mages Guild or the Fighters Guild. And then each day you can take writs, and they're associated with each of the professions that you have. So for example, a woodworker writ here, I just pull from the board, and I can do that with all of them. So I can see, for example, that what this one wants me to do is to create 2 staffs for shields. Once I've crafted them, I just have to take them to a location at the docks, and I receive a certain amount of inspiration, which will help me to level up that profession. And I also receive a case which contains some equipment, including some of the raw materials as well. Finally, in terms of getting materials for crafting, we went over last week the fact that we could just harvest them out in the world as we can anywhere else. You can also spend skill points on what are called hirelings. So each day, or a couple of times a day potentially, these will bring you materials back via the mail. So I can see here I've got these for a number of professions that I have, and I just have to extract them there. And there's a small number of materials every time I log in each day, or as I say, sometimes twice a day if you've got a lot of skill points into it as well. So those were the differences along a range of consumable crafting professions in World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share for further content. There's going to be another one in this series out next week. And until next time, I'll see you later.